So my Starlink Mini is finally here. So let's do a review. Let's do the unboxing, show you all the components of the kit. Let's do the setup procedure, show you how easy it is to get started, get online. Let's go through a speed test. Let's show you the power consumption. It's gonna be a fun video. So let's jump right into the unboxing here. So if you open it up in the kit, they've simplified the design a little bit. You notice now we have the plain cardboard box instead of the gray color. And then you also notice we have the printed instructions using the inside of the lid instead of the separate little card that used to come with the kit. And right off the bat here, we have a couple of things. We have the wall adapter. This is the power supply if you're going to be using an AC wall outlet. And then you have the pipe adapter. We'll get to those two here in a minute. Let's get started with the Mini itself. And to get to the Mini, you have to take off this cardboard partition here, which reveals the mini dish. So this is exciting. This thing is tiny, and it looks like it has a little protective cover that came off with it a little bit. Wow, so my first impression is just how small and light this thing is. And to give you a better perspective, let me bring out the Gen 3 standard dish. So this is the Gen 3 standard, this is the Mini. That is incredible. That's less than half the size. I mean, holy cow. And much lighter too. So if you were curious, this thing is tiny. And I believe the dimensions are somewhere around 12 inches by 10 inches, something like that, and about 3 inches thick. So right away I'm kind of noticing the material on the Mini is kind of more orange peely. It's more textured, more grippy. It feels like the build quality is higher than the Gen 3 standard. It is a very similar design. You notice it looks almost identical, just a very smaller version. It even has the little kickstand. It is a slightly different shape though, so the mounts for the Mini are not going to be compatible with the standard. But yeah, so quality-wise, I think they improved a little bit over the standard. This feels a little bit sturdier, feels a little bit more higher quality with that textured plastic instead of the smoother stuff. Let's go under the dish here though. If we take off, by the way, this is the kickstand, so you can fold it to be able to set it on the ground. Comes at a nice angle, which Starlink prefers, that slight angle to be able to reach satellites when you align it. You can fold in that kickstand. It does come off, so you can put other mounts on here, which we'll talk about in a second. But real quick on the included kickstand mount, this will be actually useful if you want to flat mount this to something. Like you can use this mount right here to flat mount to like the roof of your van. And you do that with the screw holes. So you notice it has a couple of screw holes here. You can actually screw this directly down, take this off the Mini, screw it down, and then you'll be able to slide the Mini right in place. So that's kind of cool that you can actually use this mount as a flat mount, or you can use it as a temporary stand just like that. So pretty cool there. But let's get rid of this kickstand mount for a second because I wanted to show you the ports that we have. We have two ports here. Underneath this right port here, this is a plug, waterproof plug. This is your Ethernet port. Okay. This is to connect an external router or external devices. It does not support power over Ethernet, so no PoE here. The second port, let me put this cover back in. Second port is your DC power port. So this is a DC 5521 connector here, so a standard DC barrel plug, and this accepts anywhere from 12 to 48 volts DC. The wall adapter that it comes with, let me talk about this for a second. The wall adapter that it comes with supplies 30 volts, about 2 amps max, so that's about 60 watts max that this can supply. So the range on this, anywhere again from 12 to 48, this supplies 30. This means that you can power the Mini off of a variety of different DC sources. So right off of your 12 volt supply of your RV, you can do USB-C. Those are typically about 20 volts. You can do anything in between there, 12 to 48. So pretty cool that they now allow direct DC power and a variety of different configurations. The Wi-Fi router, you notice in the box, there's no router. That's because it's integrated into the Mini. So in this package contains a Wi-Fi 5 router, which is going to be all you need really for camping, portable travel use kind of thing, which is what this is aimed for in the United States at least. So it's integrated into the unit. Weight, by the way, it's about 3 pounds. I think 2 pounds, 10 ounces or something like that with the kickstand without everything else here. So extremely lightweight. Pretty impressive that they were able to put everything in this package. I'm really impressed right now. The other thing, we got a factory reset button. It's a nice actual click button. So that's pretty nice too. You'll be able to factory reset the router that's integrated into this dish if you ever need to for troubleshooting, to reset your password, whatever. You can see I don't know if the camera's gonna make that out, but input rating here, 12 to 48 volts, 5 amps, maximum 60 watts. Is there anything else on this antenna? I don't think so. So we got the 2 ports here. By the way, if you're gonna be using a third-party router or you wanna connect a device to it, like I said, no PoE. So you're gonna have to run both cables, both the DC power supply cable and your Ethernet cable to the location of the dish. That's one of the weird kind of quirks about this package, but we'll get more into detail on that later. Put the kickstand back on. Let's set this aside for now. Let's focus here on the cable. This is the included DC power cable. It's 50 feet. It has these 5521 connectors on both ends. They're the same. This is designed to work with this included wall adapter. So this plugs right in here. You plug it into the wall at your home or maybe like an inverter on your RV, and that supplies 30 volts to the dish, all the power you need for it. This plugs into this port right here. Pretty simple, right? Now, the great thing about this cable and this connector, this is a standard connector industry-wide, so you can find third-party cables for this dish. Right now, actually, they make them. Like, for example, if you want to power this directly off of your car outlet, like a cigarette lighter outlet, you can find a cable that goes from that to this kind of plug. It's DC 5521. So if you're going to be using this wall adapter, you'll want to use this cable. Otherwise, search for third-party cables that will be able to power your dish directly off of whatever you're doing, USB-C, battery, etc. So that's the cable, that's the wall adapter. Last thing in the kit here, we have an included mount. We have the pipe adapter, the mini pipe adapter. So this is cool that they included it in the kit because it gives you a mounting solution right out of the box. If you already have an existing pole, mast, mount, whatever the case may be, this just replaces the kickstand on the Mini. If I can get it out. Snaps right into place here. And the way this works is you just set it on top of the pole, and then you tighten the thumb screw to tighten it down to the pole. So pretty cool that they included that. Mounting accessory. Okay, and that's everything. It's everything in the box, at least. There is one other cool thing I wanted to show you. It's kind of an Easter egg. So if you notice on these printed instructions here, they tell you how to set it up and everything. Great. There's that one small detail here, a little Easter egg. If you notice the time that's shown on the phone graphic here, time is 4:20. 4:20, if you know, you know. Kind of one of those hidden Easter eggs Starlink tends to do. I haven't found any other ones yet as I've been looking around, but if I find more, I will let you know. So that's the unboxing. Let's show you how to use it. Let's show you how to set it up. Okay, so the first thing that you'll really want to do is download the Starlink app. That's going to be how you manage your system, how you set everything up. So once you have the Starlink app installed on your phone, go ahead and open it up. Next, we got to find a good location. So you want to avoid things like this tree here. And the best way to do that, find an open area if you can, But there is also a tool on the app here that says check for obstructions. And you can use this after you select your Mini. It gives you simple instructions here. Find an open area and scan the entire sky. So you can see what it's doing here. It's just scanning and you fill in all the bubbles. It's kind of a neat little game. You just do that for your entire area and it'll tell you a result whether it's a good location or not. Okay, so let's find a good location. I'm just going to set it out in the middle of my yard here. And the way that you want to do this is go ahead and plug in your DC power cable. Make sure it's fully seated. You'll be able to tell because it's kind of flush with the rest of the housing there. And then go ahead and flip it back over, set it down, and then I'm just going to walk our cable back to our AC power plug. Okay, I'm back here at where I'm going to be plugging the Mini in, and I have my DC, the other end of the DC power cord. I'm going to plug it into my adapter here. I'm going to be running this off of the wall adapter just for this test. I'm going to be doing videos later on about powering it directly off of DC, doing reviews of different accessories, so make sure you subscribe and stay tuned for that. But for this video, we're going to be talking about the Mini powered by this wall adapter. So I plug it into the wall adapter here, and then I'm going to plug it into my little portable power station. This, by the way, is the Techron, the E600. It's got an LFP battery. It's got a lot of capacity. I just recently got this to replace my EcoFlow River 2. That one just had a lot less capacity. I need something with a little bit more, so I'm trying this one out. Let's see, this will allow me to look at the power consumption of the Mini too. But let's start with the setup first. Let's plug it in. Let's turn on the AC output. Okay, so now we're powered up here. It'll take the Mini a few minutes to boot back up. And as you can see, we've already got some power coming through this AC outlet right here. So this is a startup. I'm not gonna worry about the power consumption until it's stabilized. Okay, I've given the Starlink Mini a few minutes to boot up, and I notice now that I have this Starlink Wi-Fi network that is open and unsecured, so that's the Mini. So let's connect to that and go ahead and switch back to our Starlink app. And we'll go ahead and hit Start Setup. We're gonna select the Mini, because that's what we're setting up. We've already done the obstruction check, so I'm gonna click that I have a clear view. I have a location. I've already plugged it in, and it says it's paired successfully. So it's gonna sit here and connect to the satellites. It's gonna do its thing. It says, give it a few minutes. So that's what we'll do. We'll check back here in a second. Okay, so it's been a couple minutes. It says that it's downloading a software update. It also says Wi-Fi not configured. So to finish the setup of your Starlink, you have to set a Wi-Fi name and password. So I'm just gonna name this one Mini and just do a random password for now. And I hope you have a more secure password than that. This is just for my test settings. So it's gonna take a few minutes to apply the Wi-Fi settings. Okay, so it's been a few minutes. I reconnected back to my Wi-Fi with the new name and password. I've let it stabilize. It actually did download a software update, so I'm on the latest software that's available for my Mini, and it looks like everything has stabilized. So let's take a look at power consumption real quick. I've been watching it as it's been going through its different phases, booting and restarting and all that stuff, and it looks like it's stabilized. I hope you can see that on this Techron 600 here. It's at about 25 watts right now, just kind of idling, just running. It's hovering, I've noticed, between about 20 watts and 30 watts. When it boots up, it'll go up to about 40 to 50. I haven't really seen it go above 50. I know the max is about 60, so that kind of makes sense there. But my guess is that it's only gonna hit those higher numbers like 50 and 60 watts if you have it on the auto heating mode and you have a really low like signal to noise ratio. For example, when it's raining or snowing, or it's having a difficult time searching for satellites because of trees or something like that. So power consumption seems to be hovering, I would say about 25 watts average for just sitting here. I noticed if I start using the internet, like doing a speed test or especially uploading, it tends to creep up to around that 30 watt 32, 35 watt area. So on this Pecron, you can see right here, I've got at the current power consumption of 27 watts, I've got 66% capacity left, and I've got over 11 hours of runtime. So really impressive for the Starlink Mini as far as it's basically cut power consumption of Starlink in half. And that's incredible for people with RVs, with off-grid situations. If you're running Starlink off a battery, this is going to be a great unit for you. So that's the power consumption, and you can further optimize it by, instead of using the inverter on this thing, you can go directly to DC. I'm going to do that in another video. I'm going to save that for later. But for now, let's go ahead and take a look at a speed test, because I know that's what you guys want to see. That's your question. By the way, I'm running this on the Mini Roam service plan. You can also get it on the Mobile Regional or the Mobile Priority. The Mini Roam service plan costs $50 a month, and it gives you 50 gigabytes of mobile data. You can purchase additional data if you need it at $1 per gigabyte. With that in mind, let's take a look at a speed test. I am standing roughly 50 feet away from the dish because I have my cable almost maxed out here. You can see the Mini in the yard over there. So 50 feet away from the Wi-Fi router, because remember, Wi-Fi router is integrated into the Mini. So that's going to affect our speed test a little bit, but I think it's a realistic test because you're not going to be sitting by your Mini. It's going to be out in an open area when you're camping. To control for the Wi-Fi variable, I'll also run an advanced speed test. That'll test it directly from the dish. That'll give you a better idea of its max performance. So let's do a real quick speed test here. And I pulled about 13 or 17.3 megabits per second download. It's hovering right around 7 megabits per second upload at 51 milliseconds of latency. So let's run that again. We'll give it a few tries here. There we go. There's more normal number. This one is at a 32 megabits per second download. It finished with 30. Now we're at around 10 megabits per second upload, and lower latency here we're at 24 milliseconds. And I'll give it one more chance here. So it looks like we're going to stick right around that 30 megabits per second download area. I'm at a similar latency as the first test at about 46 milliseconds and running about the same 6 to 7 megabits per second upload. Keep in mind, that is 50 feet away from the dish. So that's what you're going to expect if you're camping with this and you're setting it up in an open area, kind of away from your campsite, like I always have to do with the regular dishes. This is kind of what you can expect. Good enough for pretty much everything you want to do, like streaming Netflix or video calls or browsing the web. But obviously, you trade off some of the performance by having your unit in a compact form factor all-in-one like the Starlink Mini is. But let's run the advanced speed test, because the advanced speed test doesn't go over Wi-Fi. It's reporting the result to my app over Wi-Fi, but the advanced speed test actually runs on the router itself, which is in the dish. That will allow us to test the true potential of the Mini. So let's start the advanced speed test. You can see we're looking at the Starlink to internet score. That's what we want to see. That's the max performance of the Mini without the Wi-Fi variable. And we peaked at around 120 megabits per second on that test, but the overall result is going to be a 72 megabits per second download. And it looks like we're around 12.5 megabits per second upload. Now, as you can see, it's doing the Wi-Fi test now, the device to Starlink, and that's where our limitation is. So the router here, since we're standing 50 feet away, that's the limitation of the connection. Not the dish itself, because we could pull 72 from the dish itself, but since we're far away from and our signal's low, we're limited there. So let's run that one more time. So I want to give it another shot on the advanced speed test, Starlink to internet. Wow, this one is incredible. Holy crap. Okay, we've spiked up now to 100 and I saw 180 megabits per second. It is dropping off a little bit now, stabilizing at our final result, 171 megabits per second download from the Starlink Mini. That is insane. And our upload's going to finish at 15.1 megabits per second upload. So that last speed test, I just want to emphasize how insane it is that this little antenna right here got 170 something megabits per second download and 15 upload when it is like less than half the size of the standard. That's insane, and it's 3 pounds. So it definitely doesn't look like Starlink is throttling the Mini or it's limited to 100 megabits per second like some people thought. My test clearly shows that is not the case. I'm getting over 170 on the download test there, which brings me kind of to my next section here, which is what I think some of the issues are with the Mini, because although it's a great compact unit for traveling, there are some downsides, and you saw one during my first Wi-Fi tests, or my first speed tests, where I'm 50 feet away from the dish itself. Because the Wi-Fi router is integrated and it's only a Wi-Fi 5, it's not going to have very good range. Standing 50 feet away, I was only able to get about 30 megabits per second download, and that's just simply due to the Wi-Fi range issue. I have a good phone. I have an iPhone 14 Pro. It's got a good Wi-Fi chipset in it. That's not the limitation. The limitation is the Wi-Fi radio in the Starlink Mini itself. So if you're going to be relying on this for camping and you're going to be setting it up like in an open area like a field, like in my test, for example, you might run into that issue where you're not going to be able to get the maximum performance out of this because you're going to be Wi-Fi limited, Wi-Fi range limited. Now there is a way to fix that. You could use a third-party router. You could run a mesh node from the Ethernet port right here under this cover, but that requires you to run 2 cables. It's kind of a pain, right? However, I don't really think that's going to be much of an issue for a lot of people, because with this use case, you're not going to be needing max download speeds. You're not looking for 100 plus megabits per second download from something like this. You're just looking for basic internet connectivity, and 30 megabits per second gives you that, even at 50 feet away, even at 60, 70 feet away. Even if you could get 10 megabits per second at your campsite, that's going to be good enough for the vast majority of internet applications if you're the only person, you're the only user and device on the network. All that being said, I think it is a downside for people that are going to try to use the Mini as a home internet solution. Like if you're going to be mounting this to your roof, you'll definitely need to run the Ethernet cable in addition to the DC power cable to be able to run a third-party router or connect another Starlink router to use inside of your home, because you're going to run into that Wi-Fi range issue if you've got this sitting on your roof or outside of your home and you're trying to use your devices inside your home. The other downside to this, at least for right now at the time of this video in the United States, is the price. So this unit, the Starlink Mini, costs $599 for this kit. The service is $50 a month. You can also get it on the $150 a month Roam plan if you want. This dish right here, the Gen 3 standard, is $499 regular price. It's discounted in a lot of locations to $299. So you're really going to have to ask yourself, do I really need the small form factor and the low power consumption? Because in my opinion, if you're trying to decide between the two of these, even for camping, even for flat mounting on your van roof or whatever, really what it comes down to is, do you need the super power efficiency and the super small form factor? Because if you don't, if you can deal with the larger size and double power usage, get the standard. Get the standard 100%. Because it's cheaper and it's better at being a Starlink antenna. Because it's bigger, it's got a better power supply. For all those reasons. The trade-off with the Mini is that you have a weaker Wi-Fi router and a little bit weaker performance, but you gain this form factor, this incredible all-in-one unit. On the flip side of that, if you really need the portability and the compactness of this thing, this is the advantage here. That's why you're kind of paying the premium price here. This has no match as far as size and weight goes. 100 plus megabits per second out of something that weighs less than 3 pounds and is about the size of a laptop. You could fit in a backpack. You can power off of a portable power station, out of a power bank, like that you would charge your phone on in some cases. Some of them are going to be compatible. You could power it off of your car cigarette lighter output. You could power it off of a wall adapter. There's so many ways to power this thing, and it uses such little power that this is going to be great for a lot of people, a lot of traveling, and people that need to stay connected but don't want to carry around a huge dish like this. So this is a Starlink Mini. I am super impressed. I will have a ton of other videos coming about the Mini, including how you can, I'm going to be doing accessory reviews for different adapters to be able to power it off of DC only, like from this 12-volt outlet here, USB-C, you name it. I'm going to be doing a ton of videos, ton of reviews on different accessories for this. So make sure, if you haven't already, subscribe to the channel. Also head to our website, www.starlinkhardware.com, and sign up to our newsletter there so you never miss any important blog articles that come out, any news updates from the website. Thank you for watching. If you have any questions or suggestions on what you'd like to see in a future Starlink Mini video, hit me up in the comments below, and I will see you in the next video.